left an opening between the two straps here, and this is where I am going to reach in here and very carefully and slowly kind of push my bag through that opening. I need to be careful as I don't want to rip any of my stitches. Okay, so it'll kind of look like this when it comes out. And now you just need to make sure that you push your lining into your bag here. And you want to kind of match up your box corners at the bottom, because those should kind of match up and sit together there. And then when I am looking at this for grading purposes, I'm going to look at how well your box corner seams match up. I'm also going to look at your side seams. We talked about matching those up. So how well do the two seams match up there? Okay, does one seam flow into the other, or are they way off? Okay. How well are your straps spaced? Are they way far apart on one side and closer together on the other? Okay, those are things that I'm going to be looking at. Did you pay attention to those things? So once you have it all turned right side out, it's starting to look like a bag here, we're going to go over to the ironing board. So it's always a good idea to finish off a project before you hand it in and iron it. Just for finishing purposes, it's going to look a lot better. A lot more professional when you iron it, but for this project we also need to make sure that we are just ironing the top here. This is going to help so that your lining wants to stay in the bag, and then you're also going to want to kind of iron this opening here, and that is just going to be you just want to iron those straight across, and then we will be hand sewing this too. So I'm just making sure that that is kind of how I want it to be before I iron that flat. Okay, and then before I hand sew it, I am going to pin it. And then I will do the slip stitch, or also I refer to it as the hidden stitch. And for those of you that need a little refresher on that, I will go over that, but you really shouldn't see stitches on that. So as we have done that a couple of times, when I'm looking at grading here, I shouldn't see your stitches there for that. If you're not comfortable with that yet, I would suggest watching through to the end of the video. Okay, so now that I have that ironed, I've got my needle, and I just want to make sure that my needle is an appropriate size. I don't want a huge needle for this. I want just a nice small needle. So this is the needle that I'm working with here. I've got it threaded, but I don't have it knotted yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and knot it real quick, as you should all know how to do at this point. Okay, I've got my knot there, and I should trim that off. Okay, and then I've got my bag here in front of me, and I did go ahead and, like I said I was going to, and I pinned that just so that that doesn't open up and those fabrics stay where I need them to. I am going to do the hidden stitch here between these two pieces of fabric. So I need to start by going inside the fabric here. So I'm gonna start with my needle coming right up on the edge of the fabric. It's coming up through the middle of those two fabrics so that my knot will end up on the inside there, kind of hidden in there, right there. And now I'm just gonna jump from one side to the other here. So I'm on the white fabric. I'm going to jump over to my patterned fabric right on the edge, and I'm jumping over parallel. I'm going down and coming back up, just taking little stitches. That's the key to this, little stitches right on the edge. Bring that through, and then I'm going to jump back over to my white fabric, pull through. And it's important that as I jump back over, I am jumping parallel, because as I do that, my stitches will be hidden. If I don't jump parallel and I choose to kind of jump forward, like up here, okay, then my stitch is going to kind of go diagonally there, and it won't be hidden, and it'll start to kind of really bunch my fabric. So I really just want to jump straight across to the other fabric and just take little bits at a time. This can be a time-consuming stitch, but it really makes all the difference when finishing a project, as you will not or should not be able to see your stitching, and that's what I'm going to be looking for when I'm looking at how you finished off this project. Now this has happened a couple times where I have pulled it through and there's like a little loop of thread that stays there. I just need to kind of tug at both of those strings, and it's just one of those strings is a little longer than the other and hasn't pulled quite all the way through. So I just need to see which string it was. See there again, I just don't know which string it is there. I just need to give it another little extra tug and it pulls right through. Okay, so I made it all the way to the end. So as you see here, this is the area in front of you here that I did my hidden stitch. So I can't see much at all. I did a red thread and I'm not seeing any red thread there. Okay, so that is what the hidden stitch should look like. You shouldn't be able to see any of your thread. And that's what I'll be looking for. So now tying it off, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. This is how I am going to do it though, okay? I am going to kind of go back over, let's see, in the opposite direction that I came. So I was coming this way towards this handle is where I ended. So now I'm going to go back in my opposite direction. like I'm gonna go kind of sew back, and I'm just gonna do a couple stitches sewing backwards here. And now this next one here, I'm gonna make it really a little tiny stitch on the other side, as tiny as I can, right like that. Okay, can you see that there? So I'm on the white there, and now I just made the tiniest stitch on the other side there. I'm gonna pull through, and then I am going to go back kind of underneath, and I'm going to go back underneath it, and I can even go back another stitch too. So I've got a couple stitches I'm going back underneath. So this is my last one, and then there's another one there. So I'm going to pull those, pull that nice and tight. Now I'm going to kind of do a thing where I lose my thread. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put my needle back into my project in between my threads, and I am going to kind of push it way kind of as far out as I can here. So my needle's going into my project, and then it's gonna kind of go in here ways, and then I'm going to pull it out way down here. Okay, and I'm gonna just kind of pull it as tight as I can right there. So I've got it all kind of bunched up, and then I'm just gonna cut my thread, and that kind of tail of my thread gets kind of lost inside my project. So I have that hidden stitch, and I can't even see much of a knot, maybe just a little bit there, but that's looking pretty good.